the evil empire is here. The military-industrial complex is the one that's stopping us from being free. And then and he often talks about it from the perspective of having free energy, having cheap energy. Well, I'm glad that they're talking about the UFOs. They're doing a great job, but that's not what's going on. There are problems in the military and with the government, but what those big shots are talking about is not it. It's as above, so below. There are two general groupings of ETs, extraterrestrials, and we call them the good guys and the bad guys. Now, don't think in terms of genetic things like the grays or whatever. They got grays on both sides, and they got other different types on both sides. But there are two different types: the good guys and the bad guys. On this planet, the bad guys dominate by far. They have written, signed agreements with the United States government and a few other governments to allow them to conduct experiments and do operations here in exchange for help with technology associated with the craft retrieval program that the U.S. government, for example, has been doing. Now, this is not in dispute among anyone who's serious. For example, Chaim Ashed, the former head of the Israeli Space Directorate for 30 years, Chaim Ashed. Now, he's like the Israeli equivalent of NASA. He has stated point blank that the U.S. has written, signed agreements with the U.S. government. The extraterrestrials have these signed agreements. And part of the agreements is secrecy is an absolute must. They don't want anyone knowing that they're real. That's why this disclosure problem is hitting such a hard wall. It's not just that the U.S. government, has secrets that it wants to keep. They've got written agreements, and those ETs are actually helping with some weapons stuff and other things. And if you doubt that, just Google Chaim Ashed and UFOs and stuff. You'll see it. Now, he didn't try to make it public. He gave this interview where he talked about all this stuff in Hebrew, in a Hebrew publication. He thought it would be small because of that. But it turned out that a whole bunch of people know Hebrew. It immediately got translated into all sorts of languages. Anyway, the blankety blank hit the fan, so to speak. But nonetheless, he said it. So what basically it is, on this planet, the bad ETs have got all of the political leadership in their pocket. They control everybody on the top. The good ETs, the ones that I will be blunt with, that we at Farsight work with, are completely shut out of the political leadership. Let me tell you point blank. We have no access to the political leadership. The good guys, they don't. But the good ETs are dominant in the solar system. The bad ETs are dominant on the planet Earth. Meaning the good ETs have more presence, military and everything, in the solar system, but there's nothing they can do about it because of these damn written agreements that have been signed by the U.S. government. That's a voluntary thing. You see, the good ETs had this near fanatical adherence to the concept of free will. And if the humans, by free will, decide to be slaves, that's nothing they can do about it. A slave has free will too, and if they want to be a slave, that's okay. The good ETs have been trying to change things a lot, but they were totally closed out, and still to this day are totally closed out of the political leadership. But they have won the hearts and minds of the public, of the masses. What they've been doing, one of the things they've been doing, is they've been slipping ideas into the dreams of scriptwriters, for example, out of Hollywood. So that when the scriptwriter wakes up in the morning, they says, I've got this great idea for a new idea. And then a new movie comes out. Now, the good ETs believe in free will, so they can't force the person to have a new show or a new movie or whatever, but they can slip the idea in, and then the person thinks it's his or her own idea. And then we have Star Trek, Star Wars, we have the Matrix movies, we have a whole bunch of the news, all the new, science shows that have come out, so that the populace, the public, becomes familiarized with the basic ideas that the bad ETs don't want anyone even to think about. So you've got that struggle. So that's why this disclosure process is so big right now. The masses are ready for it. And the elite are kicking and screaming. They have these written agreements. And the military is split. Let me tell you, this is the absolute fact. The military is split. I don't know what the exact percentages are, but let's say 50-50. 50% is following the original agreements. They like the fact they have working relationships with the bad ETs, but they consider it good because they're getting help with the reverse engineering some of the tech on the ships that have been crashed and so on like that. The good ETs don't offer that kind of stuff. They don't think we should be investing in military technology because the only thing we're going to do is shoot everybody with it. So the good ETs can invade, but if they did invade to kick the bad ETs out, they have the military power to do that. All of humanity would rise up and they'd see these good ETs coming in and they wouldn't know they were good. They'd say, my gosh, we're being invaded. And so they would scream for the governments to defend themselves. So the bad ETs and the political leadership have the good ETs over a barrel. The good ETs have to get it to the point where the public demands that the disclosure process happen and that it becomes public and that the political elite realign themselves from the bad ETs to the good ETs, because the public doesn't even know that there is a schism between the good ones and the bad ones. So that's why the disclosure process is going on. So the only thing the good ETs are trying to do is say, just tell the people the truth. It's like Bob Marley, just tell the people the truth. That's what this is all about. Yeah. And once people find out what actually has been going on, then everything will be like a domino effect. It'll be a catalytic conversion of everything, and you'll get a complete change of everything. And then the good ETs can handle it. They can handle the bad ETs, but they can't handle it if they're also fighting humanity. Let's say they came in and knocked the bad ETs out, but the disclosure thing never happened. What are they supposed to do? Take everybody and send them to re-education camps like communist China, in Stalin's Russia, Soviet Union? And I was thinking of, the re-education camps in China, like during Mao Zedong's time. What are they supposed to do? There has to get to the point. They can't do that. So there has to get to the point where the public actually voluntarily says, we like you guys, we don't like those guys, switch. And so that's why people like Sheehan and Greer, it's great what they're doing and sure publicizing this stuff, but they're talking about it like all ETs are good. It's not that way. It's just like as above, so below. It's whatever you see here is like whatever you see there. They have major factions. This planet, because it's being controlled by the bad ETs, is being run as a prison planet. This place is a prison. There is no worry about being banished to hell. There is no planet that is a better description of hell than this planet. Just read the news every day. You see the people that are dying and everything like that. So this planet with all the turmoils and troubles, that's all the troubles, the wars and everything, those are largely engineered by the bad ETs. That's like a magician. If you distract people enough, they can't see what you're doing with your hands. So they want to distract people with these wars and troubles.